you for coming here. Thank you, Maggie, for inviting us. I'm glad you are interested in the story of DevRel at Snowflake. There are other companies, they have awesome DevRel teams, but this is our story, so we are happy to share it. We thought of this presentation with Daniel as something that we would show a new teammate, someone that we're recruiting, anyone that's interested in seeing how we approach DevRel, what we have done so far. We would love to have your questions. This is our story. Anything before I begin, Daniel?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it. So let's get started. Good morning. Yes, people trickling in from the keynote. So I'm sure this is a data conference. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Snowflake. Yes, this is like the place to be familiar with Snowflake. And I love this picture. I took this screenshot a couple months ago, but it shows how Snowflake has risen from out of nowhere, like it didn't exist 12 years ago, to now being almost a top 10 database of all databases. So it's really fun to see the story and how we arrived here. Um, I don't know if people know me, but this is me right now on Stack Overflow and Snowflake. I'm number 3. I'm a developer advocate for Snowflake. I've been here for the last 2.5 years now. And part of what's really interesting here is that being number 3 on the top for Stack Overflow of all time, it's hard. I'm surrounded by great users. I'm surrounded by other teammates, employees. We all love answering questions. And before joining Snowflake, I was at Google for 8 years, for 10 years. I was a developer advocate for BigQuery for 8. So there I'm number 2. And there I'm going to be number 2 for a long time. So anyways, this is how Snowflake has risen. Maybe we will see Snowflake as in the top 10 very soon. I joined, you can guess where I joined in 2020. I don't know if it's related that it went up that high or if it was IPO, but it was the perfect time to start. And Daniel started about the same time, a couple months before me.
Yep.
And a quick story of Snowflake. It was founded in 2012. In 2017, the community team started. 2019, Craig Graziano joined, the first evangelist for Snowflake. But back in 2020, Snowflake didn't have a developer relations team. Snowflake didn't have developer advocates, which is also a pretty interesting thing to see because developer relations is so important for so many companies here, and Snowflake was able to succeed without a formal developer relations team. But in 2020, we were invited to join. I remember seeing an ad like this. This is a more recent one. But I remember in the middle of 2020, we were all at home. Someone at Snowflake invited me to see this. And the ad said something like, we are looking for our first developer advocate. We are looking for someone to define what DevRel is going to be, to set our metrics, to organize our team. And I saw that and I was like, that's not me. I'm not interested in creating plans. I'm not interested in defining strategies. I just want to do the job. I want to be out there. I want to be a developer advocate having fun. But Daniel saw the same ad, and Daniel said, that's me.
Exactly.
And so for the next part of the story, Daniel, please.
Thank you, Felipe. Awesome. So before I get started, I want to see quick show of hands who here considers themselves working in DevRel, either a developer advocate, evangelist, community manager, something to do with DevRel. Awesome. Quick show of hands, who here considers themselves a data scientist? Who considers themselves a app developer? Awesome. Data engineer. Beautiful. So, the DevRel function at Snowflake covers really those 3 core personas. We call them builders. That is app dev, data engineers, data scientists. And that really, the definition, the broader definition of a builder for us is really any technical practitioner that's building something in Snowflake. And so when I joined Snowflake, this DevRel function simply did not exist, like Felipe said. There was no mission, there was no idea on how to build up this adoption by builders. All the business knew was like, hey, builders use our product. We need a team that can really focus on that and build a bottoms up adoption, so product led or community led growth to expand our already top down sales and marketing approach that Snowflake had. And so with that in mind, we've put together our mission statement, objectives, and KPIs. These are our North Star. So kind of the defining function across all of the different programs and initiatives that we as a team do. And that is pretty simple. Make Snowflake the data platform of choice by developers, or in this case, builders. And how do we do that through objectives? Well, it's building awareness, growing share of voice across different communities, and at the end of the day, increasing consumption. Snowflake is a consumption-based product. We want to increase consumption, and we see developers as a core element of building and growing consumption of Snowflake. And how do we actually measure that? So it's total number of developers on a monthly basis. We can see that based on trial signups, for example. And we can see that also by communities, both ones that we own ourselves, so community.snowflake.com, but as well as third-party communities, Reddit, Stack Overflow, Medium, you name it. We can see how those online communities are growing. We can measure sentiment on those. We can see and tie in the different questions that are happening there. And at the end of the day, right, we want to be able to influence, have the community influence their own decision makers, and these capacity deals, again, going towards consumption of Snowflake. So we, as a team, come to this with a few assumptions, both on our product and what we think will be successful as a product, and also for customers, some assumptions that we have for our customers. So that is that engineers are absolutely critical and have a uniquely different set of needs than business users. That those needs include, actually developing, things on Snowflake, using Snowflake with other tools. And so, for example, the amount of escalation when Snowflake goes down for a developer is much higher than if it's, you can't access a dashboard for some time. But for a developer, it could mean that your entire app stops working. And so, we also see that developers influence these deals. At Snowflake, we call them internal champions. These are folks that love and use Snowflake already, and are a key element of growth within our customers. So different teams within our customers and helping to promote Snowflake within their own company. We also want to build a high quality pipeline that our sales and rest of our marketing function can use, right? So at the end of the day, our goal is to spread adoption of Snowflake. And how do we do that? Well, we have a mental model on how we kind of crystallize down these assumptions about our product and about our customers, joining that with the mission statement and KPIs into three core buckets of deliverables for DevRel at Snowflake. That is content, product, and community. So content is all about creating sample code, blog posts, videos, you name it, both educational content, so how do you actually use Snowflake to build the solutions that you need, but also awareness content. Are you even aware that you can do X, Y, and Z with Snowflake? And so that is a very core element today, and depending on where you are in the life cycle of your product, you as a team will spend more or less time on one of these buckets. When we look at product bucket, the product bucket for Snowflake in DevRel really spans two ends of the product lifecycle. That is the very beginning, helping to influence product roadmap, which features get developed specifically for developers and builders in this case. And how do we do that? Well, we literally in the room helping to define the functional spec of different features. And then on the other end of that feature lifecycle is when we go and launch a new feature. So really the go-to-market function. So do we have that right content in place when the feature launches? And are we engaging the community in the right way? And so that brings me to the third bucket, community. Community is absolutely critical for any DevRel team. In particular for Snowflake, there's a few key programs across community that we have today. I mentioned prior, we have our community platforms, so community.snowflake.com, where Snowflake users and builders can go on, ask questions, interact with other builders on Snowflake. But we also, by design, engage developers and builders where they are elsewhere on the internet. You go to Medium, go to Reddit, etc. So we, as part of our mission and part of our design, is to engage developers everywhere. So a couple key programs there is all of those community platforms, but two, our ambassador program. At Snowflake, we call it Data Superheroes. What are they? These are Snowflake super users that they themselves use Snowflake in and out all the time in their job and their function, and they love Snowflake. What are some benefits of being one of a data superhero for Snowflake? Well, one, it's two ways. One, we help promote them in the industry, but two, we also love to get feedback from them on private preview, beta, NDA level feedback on Snowflake as a product. And so that goes back to the product bucket as well. So these three, my point being is that these three buckets of tangible deliverables that we as a team execute on are very collaborative and cross-functional. So the content goes towards both the launch of new features, awareness, education, and so on. So let's look at some of the key DevRel programs that we at Snowflake have today. So at Snowflake, we have a few very key ones. One is Quick Starts, quickstarts.snowflake.com. This is a tutorial platform with end-to-end tutorial content complete with all of the source code, instructions, images, videos, so that by the end of completing that tutorial, you have something running inside of your own Snowflake instance. And that covers both solutions, so how to build a movie recommendation engine on Snowflake. You can go watch that and learn how to do that today at quickstarts.snowflake.com. We also have, so how do we categorize different quick starts? We have getting started. So this is by persona. So whether that be getting started by, if you're a developer, right? Here's the core set of features for that app developers would most likely want to do, and keep that short and sweet. Same thing with data engineers. Here's the core set of features that Snowflake provides out of the box if you're a data engineer and you're doing that. Same thing with data science. The other is getting started by feature. So if you just want to learn about, hey, I want to learn how to use time travel with Snowflake. I want to learn how to just use Snowpark with Snowflake. I want to learn how to use the Python connector. You can get started, just laser in on a specific feature. We also have solutions. I mentioned, build a movie recommendation engine. Hey, I want to ingest all the Twitter, all the tweets in a fire hose fashion and do live sentiment analysis on those tweets for specific keywords. Absolutely, we have a quick start to show you exactly how to do that. The last is partner integrations. Snowflake at its core loves partners, and we, as a go-to-market function, are very much partner first. Almost all the things that we do, since we are an underlying platform, needs partners to complete the rest of that solution. And so you'll see over and over again many partner-oriented quick starts. How to use X with Snowflake. How to set this up in your Snowflake environment and set it up in whatever partner platform or application that they may have. So the next program here is Snowflake Labs in GitHub. This is critical for builders of all kinds. This is where we host our open source projects, sample code, tools that you may use, and how do we categorize and think about open source at Snowflake. This is a big one because we have the sample code that is on Quick Starts, but we also want to help promote and build a robust open source community of tools that we know our customers use. A great example of that is Django for Python. So we have open source Django connector for Python that you can go and leverage today. Same thing with Terraform. A great example of this, and I'll touch on this further, is the Terraform provider and how we've worked with the Chan Zuckerberg initiative, for example, to adopt the open source Terraform provider that they developed into Snowflake, and now we help to manage and maintain that. Videos is a big one. Videos is probably one of the fastest growing mediums for content consumption, not just among developers, but probably just in general. So we see that as a core element of how we go about building the mindshare and awareness for Snowflake. Another one is events. Events for Snowflake, like this one, is a key element as well for us. So we want to leverage events like this where we can engage one-on-one with the community in this fashion, do live Q&As, workshops, really get hands-on in person for Snowflake and builders of Snowflake, which ties into the workshops last one. So the workshops both are in person at events like this, but also online virtual. We have what are called virtual hands-on labs. You can go and sign up. We have them every single week. What are those and how does it tie into the rest of the programs? Well, every single hands-on lab or workshop is simply a quick start that is instructor-led. And that is by design. We want to keep as much, virtually all of our content ungated. That's for several reasons. One, having it ungated promotes organic search and growth. So when you search for Twitter and Snowflake, hey, our quick start is probably on the front page, and so building this organic growth is a key element of growing these programs. So we see some of these. We have like our Terraform Snowflake guide here on quick starts is the top one today. If you Google search Terraform and Snowflake, you will get our quick start. For example, the DBT one, top partner guide, for traffic. If you type in Snowflake DBT, that will be literally the #1 result on Google search. When we look at Snowflake Labs, the Terraform adoption from CZI. So how did this actually go about? So we saw from our customers increasing demand for a infrastructure as code solution, specifically Terraform, and this was coming from our sales teams, escalating it to product, escalating it to us, saying, hey, there's this open source project. Our customers are asking, can Snowflake add to it? Because we're using it in production. We want Snowflake to support XYZ features in this Terraform provider. And it turns out also Snowflake ourselves use this provider to manage our own Snowflake instances. And so ultimately that's how we adopted it. The same engineering team that uses it internally at Snowflake is the same engineering team that is developing it for our customers today. And so CZI still today contributes to this Terraform provider as well. That is a key element of really all of these open source projects that we engage in. Is just because we adopt it, that by design we don't want to say no to external contributions. Like we want more external contributions. So we want to deepen the presence of open source and really build out this robust ecosystem of integrations, open source projects that you can use Snowflake with. So powered by Snowflake and video interviews in general. So video, this goes back to kind of how we leverage videos as a key element of consumption for builders. So this powered by series, for example, is targeting developers, founders, CTOs, so kind of the executive down to individual developer on the technical side of business, and really attacking it at two angles, right? On showing why they built their business and application on Snowflake. So going deep into, both the business reasons, hey, they were able to partner with Snowflake, do a joint go-to-market, but also go deep into the features. Why did they choose Snowflake to build on? Were there specific things that were deal breakers for other platforms, and why they chose Snowflake? Were there core differentiators that Snowflake provided as to why they chose Snowflake to build end-to-end their application on top of? And so you can Google this, for example, today. This is just one of many video series that we have. And the point is, we want to tackle really all of these different areas across the board for builders of all kinds to answer their questions, so that if they Google search it, we want a quick start, we want a video, we want a blog post, we want all these things from Snowflake essentially on the front page. Organic search is absolutely critical. So developer communities. We see continual growth of all of our external communities, Medium, Reddit, Stack Overflow. And you'll see here, Snowflake is the fastest growing Stack Overflow. It's the blue line there. And across different elements there. Same thing with the community.snowflake.com. Continues to grow significantly, month over month, where we are grabbing all sorts of users of Snowflake. Now, from here, I'll pass it back to Felipe.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
So that's how Daniel spends his day. I love that he's doing this, like planning all of this, bringing people together, bringing teams together, selling this to marketing and how we should be doing DevRel, setting up partnerships, talking with people. Instead, I spend my day out there. I spend my day on the DBT Slack, on Stack Overflow, on Reddit, and what I love is seeing how these numbers increase and increase and increase. These are screenshots from November, October. When I joined 2020, we had less than 200,000 page views a quarter on Stack Overflow. We are over 1 million now. On Reddit, it was the Snowflake subreddit was almost dead, but I adopted it. Now we are on 5. Right now we are almost at 6,000. On the DBT Slack, I love seeing that the Snowflake channel is the largest one of all the vendors. Same on Reddit Data Engineering. When someone asks on this survey, what data lake warehouse do you use? Snowflake is the most popular one. And for me, this is extraordinary because, again, I had a career in data before joining Snowflake. Snowflake didn't exist when I started this, and now Snowflake is everywhere, and I love it. We still have challenges. Like in this conference, everyone recognizes Snowflake. Then if I go to a DevOps conference, most people don't know it. So that's part of the challenge. We continue fighting with, like, how do we make people that aware that Snowflake exists, that they might love it. But yeah, as Daniel was saying, we have all these programs, and we also have developer advocates on the ground being present, doing the job. I love this one, an award that I got from from DBT, where they recognized the top vendors, community players in their space, and there was my name along with other snowflakes. And it's really cool to see that recognition, that being present, being there, dedicating my time to be part of a community can be recognized too. And that's part of the how we show our different focus. But they're both welcome in Snowflake, and both are very important jobs. This is just to show you a little bit of how our team looks. This is back in 2020, we joined. but there was already a team present. Daniel was reporting to Waka's. What was Waka's title at the time?
Director of Developer Marketing.
Developer marketing, yes. And we had Andy and Elsa doing community. Kent was our evangelist. And we have our awesome management, Elise that hired me, hired Daniel, and our CMO, that's Denise, and they are great, great leaders to work with. Part of the uh, questions that you always have for DevRel is where should DevRel sit? Um, in our case, it's marketing. Other companies it's product. Other companies it's engineering. Uh, they all have pros and cons, but having this leadership has been a really great experience for us. A little bit of story. So Snowflake founded in 2012. I already went through that, but then after we joined, we had the Snowflake IPO. And then in 2021, after we joined, Wakas was put in charge of all things DevRel and community. Dash joined in 2021 our developer advocate team. And Gilberto just joined us, and I'm super happy to see him with a Snowflake T-shirt that he was worried that he didn't have yesterday. So, looking good. And I'm glad that the team is growing. So this is basically how our team looks now. Wakas manages community, DevRel. We have Laith as the manager for community. The community team, you can see how it has grown. Our developer advocates team has grown too. We're growing also our program management team. Francisco is working all things open source and getting us how do we manage our open source relationship with the communities within Snowflake. Our leadership continues there. And I also have the pictures of two of our evangelists that are not part of Waka's team, but they are our evangelists in Europe. And yes, we all have this job of being present, being there, learning, teaching, learning, listening, etc. Yes, Daniel, you wanted to take this one.
Yeah. So as Felipe said, different DevRel teams are part of different organizations depending on the company that you see. So for the people that quick show of hands here, for the people that are in DevRel and any function of DevRel, how many of you report into engineering org? Okay. For those of you in DevRel reporting into a product team, marketing team, you see right here, different, pretty good mix of folks reporting into these three: marketing, product, engineering. When does it make sense for a DevRel team to report into each of these? Well, it's going to be opinionated based on who you ask. But the way I see it is that depending on the product maturity and the customers that you have, so the segments that you have, will really define where it makes sense for your DevRel team to sit. Where your DevRel team sits has a very large influence on what North Star metrics you as a team have, and so at Snowflake we are part of the marketing org, and you'll see that with DevRel in general, right? Many times the DevRel team focuses on the long tail of customers, so independent developers, startups, things like that. And so depending on what your product is, will define how important is that segment to the overall business success, and also the maturity of where your product is. Do you have the mind share already within the industry? Or do you need to build that mindshare and focus more on content across these different channels to build mindshare? And for your product roadmap, are you expanding into different areas that need to build and grow your mindshare in those areas? And so, no matter what, a good DevRel team will have the skill set necessary to fit in all three of these. That's the key element here. That's kind of the key takeaway, is that as a DevRel team, you will be targeting all three of these metrics, and the question is, for the business, which ones should you be focusing on? and spending a lot of time on. But you still need to have the background and expertise for across all three. So, what's next for DevRel at Snowflake?
So much. You can do it. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
So we can set up, get ready for the questions. We'll have questions. So what's next? DevRel is growing.
Yeah, so DevRel is growing. So this is a big piece. This is in part recruitment. So if you are interested in joining Snowflake, let me know. And we are hiring globally. So we keep evolving. Felipe, you want to talk more about that?
Oh, for sure. Like before I joined, Snowflake used to be the best data warehouse. That's how it was sold. Then Snowflake kept growing as a product, the reach of what it can do, and our messaging changed to Snowflake is the cloud data platform. And then when I joined in 2020, when we joined, we were Snowflake is the data cloud. As Snowflake became a place to share data, to move data between companies without having to physically move it and share and have everything governed. And now, what are those three dots for?
Snowflake 3.0. So as Snowflake continues to grow, Snowflake is becoming a general developer platform for all things data. And that really kind of ties into the idea of the data cloud and expanding on that vision. So as a builder, I encourage you to check out developers.snowflake.com and learn more about how Snowflake can help you.
Yep. And we listed here some of the areas where Snowflake is growing to. With Snowpark, with its abilities to do ML, with Apache Iceberg, with Unistore, Streamlit. We are adopting now the Django connector. This is ways of building apps. How are we going tackling streaming? How are we tackling apps? The whole picture, having native apps, connected apps, etc. There's so much to do, so many areas to focus if you want to join Snowflake. But by the way, we are not on this alone. We told the story of developer relations as seen from us too. Anyone else on our team has a pretty interesting story, and I want to call out our sales engineers, industry solutions, our field CTOs, partners team, the engineers that are out there, the UX people that love getting your feedback, field marketing that sets up events everywhere, documentations, PMs. It's just an incredible team to be part of, and they all want to have more developers to listen to their feedback and create a great product.
Fantastic. And so with this, again, thank you everybody for joining us here today.